Christopher Nolan, known for his mind-bending films complete with sweeping landscapes, breathless scores, and intense psychological themes, brought the word Inception in 2010, with reviews describing it as all about process, about fighting our way through enveloping sheets of reality and dream, reality within dreams, dreams without reality, and others declaring visually, intellectually, and emotionally, Inception is a masterpiece. One feels compelled to watch the film and see if indeed it holds up to the high standards these words declare of it. I saw Inception for the first time a few years back, and I was so intrigued and taken in by the power of Nolan's story. The movie spans a wide variety of themes, the main ones being the power of the mind, dreams, reality versus mental reality, and the morality of using the mind as a weapon against itself. For those not familiar with the movie, Inception tells the story of a man, Don Cobb, who is described as a professional thief who steals information by infiltrating the subconscious of his targets. By subconscious here, we are referring to dreams. Cobb has a trained team that knows how to enter the dreams of persons and extract information by means of deceit, psychological persuasion, and a deep inner knowledge of the human mind. This act of extraction is contrasted with the even deadlier act of inception, which is defined as the act of planting an idea in the mind of a person, but doing so in a way that the person believes the idea is their own. Throughout the movie, we see that Cobb is haunted by the ghost of his dead wife, and we find out that she killed herself because she had been a victim of the act of inception, causing her mind to be unable to differentiate between the worlds of dream and reality. The act of inception, then, is gradually understood by the viewer to not only be a dangerous act, but also a potentially immoral one. In a desperate act to gain entrance back into his country and to his children, Cobb accepts a job by a man who wants him to perform inception, wants him to plant an idea in the mind of his business rival. Although hesitant at first, he takes the job because it promises him the ability to be reunited with his children, which for complicated reasons he has not been able to return to. The amount of preparation and effort undertaken by Cobb's team for the job is overwhelming, and as the time draws closer, Cobb is increasingly haunted by apparitions of his wife, to the point where another member of the team, a young woman named Ariande, worries for the safety of them all. Cobb is determined to go through with the job, however, and so they enter the dream-sleep state of one Robert Fisher. As with all perfectly planned intricate missions, things go wrong. Cobb's obsession over his wife's death, and the subsequent apparitions that come along with it, do indeed serve to compromise the mission, and the team is forced into dangerous places, in deeper and deeper mental states. As the walls of the dream begin crashing in upon them, and their real lives are hanging in the balance, Cobb is forced down into the very deepest of all mental levels, what is called here limbo. We learn that Cobb has been in limbo before with his wife. Indeed, this is where the terrible act of inception was performed on her, and she began questioning and denying all that was truly real. It was after her return from the depths of limbo that she took her own life. Cobb and Ariane, who accompanied him, find themselves in a high glass-walled building, and Cobb is forced to face the apparition of his wife, who throws back in his face everything that corrupted her mind and tries to convince him to forget everything that he knows is real and come back to spend eternity in limbo with a shadow of herself. What do you believe? She demands. What do you feel? And that is when Cobb breaks silence, and we hear this horrifying revelation.
I feel guilt, Mom. And no matter what I do, no matter how hopeless I am, no matter how confused, that guilt is always there, reminding me of the truth.
What truth?
That the idea that caused you to question your reality came from me.
The build-up to this revelation is what makes it so devastating. Over the course of the movie, we have come to realize The crime is self to the human person the act of inception can be. We see the haunting ramifications that the death of Cobb's wife has had on him, and then we learn that the two are connected. And not only that, but they are connected because Cobb connected them. He planted the idea in his wife's head that the world of limbo they were living in was not real. He wanted her to return with him, back through the layers of dream, into the reality of their lives and their children. His intentions were good, but, even as he says, an idea is like a virus. It is resilient, highly contagious, and the smallest seed of an idea can grow to define or destroy you. Had Cobb brought all this upon himself by his continual delving into the world of the unreal? As with many of Nolan's movies, he does not try to answer many of the questions that naturally arise, something that can leave some viewers frustrated. For example, despite the very real pain that he has shown the act of Inception of being capable of, he does not explore the seeming contradiction that Cobb is, at this very moment in the storyline, performing it on someone else, and its ending is such that we are left with a person whose life has been made better by the lie they were forced to swallow. This paradox may be meant to be passed over in light of other, deeper themes, but it still leaves the audience with a sense of unease and uncertainty. That aside, Nolan masterfully portrays the moment of discovered betrayal here in such a way that was brought to tears when the truth behind everything was revealed. Cobb felt guilt because he was, indeed, guilty. His wife's death was on him, and the fact that he was once again performing Inception when it is obviously a painful and heartbreaking memory for him, speaks to how very dearly he wants to be reunited with his children again. In the end, he is reunited, although, as Nolan does so often, we are left to decide for ourselves how real that reunion is. The movie ends with Cobb completing his task, discovering the freedom of letting go of the past, and returning to be with his children. We, as the audience, are left to decide the extent of the reality the final scene presents to us. Storytelling is an art, as much as it is a talent. It can be learned, and contrary to what some may think or imagine, it is not a simple letting go of everything and letting the mind and imagination take over. There are rules to follow. There are very certain ways in which the mind of the reader and the minds of the creator can connect. And without that connection, nothing meaningful can come out of it. Christopher Nolan understood this well. Inception explores so many themes and ideas. To discuss them here would take a dreamscape of a lifetime. But that's what we're here for, isn't it? To learn, to be inspired, to push beyond ourselves, to seek out what makes us human and why, to find the connecting threads that unite humanity, to look a little deeper and a little closer and listen for that voice that makes everything come alive.